Question.
No, I want to.
No.
Okay, all I would say is that, well, first off, thank God I do more than just office supplies. If I didn't get just that. But I will say this, that, you're the customer, and everything is oriented toward making you happy. And I say that to Genentech and everyone else. And I think that the one thing that has stood the test of time is kind of a mentor protege or some sort of a kind of, iteration of that. My point is that if you all would, as you're reviewing the major prime contracts, ask them and hold them responsible to what are you doing. And when they say, we've got to check in the box, I Staples, or I've never got to check in the box because I have my one service-disabled veteran, I would say, well, if that's the beginning of your program, that's okay, but that's not the right answer for next year and the year after that. It ought to be a robust program, robust participation by service-disabled veterans. It ought to be not a scenario where out here, Staples says that they have their service-disabled veteran, but that service-disabled veteran is in Tennessee or in New York or someplace that, some other place. Because that to me, is only meeting the letter of the law and not really getting to the spirit of it. If you all control things out here, if you're interested in locally growing a business as most municipalities and state contractors are, then it seems like to me there ought to be a local kind of a emphasis as well as, the bar is not so low that all you have to do is get a service-disabled veteran and continue to, go to that one service-disabled veteran, because I think that that's not what we are all about. We're about developing businesses, and I think that if you can kind of take it just above that level, I think that would kind of get at what everyone would like to see out of this whole thing.
There are kind of two ways that would work. One is that one of the goals that I have is reviewing the small business subcontracting plans of the large businesses that hold these larger contracts. And they come in, and there's a relatively limited area of influence that I can exert on the subcontractor and how they do their business. Now, I can go back and say, well, gee, you're saying of this $5 million, you're only going to spend $200,000 with a small business, and it looks like it's basically janitorial support or something like that. And I can question, what opportunities, what did you look at, what did you do? What I can't do is I can't go in and somehow statutorily require that something change. And the reason for that is because I'm not prepared to take on the liability of performance under that contract. If I go in and tell that contractor, you absolutely need to do the following things, then I've effectively released that contractor from the obligation to perform in those areas, because they simply come back to me and say, well, I did exactly what you told me. It's not my fault that it failed. And so there has to be this arm's length relationship with the contractor that I can push them and I can suggest, but the thing I can't do is mandate.
And I hope that I didn't say that either. Well, I was just saying merely, again, they want to make you happy. They want to stand out from their competition. They want to do a good job. And I think in the areas where you do have discretion and have a little bit of an ability to move them and nudge them in that direction, that you take that opportunity to do that. And that merely putting a check in the box sometimes, yeah, statutorily you've met the requirements. But, next time when I'm looking at your crime and somebody else's crime in a similar area, I will look at those kinds of decision points that you had within your ability to make. I will look at that and how you treated those decision points. Whether or not you met the absolute minimum or whether this other company went above and beyond that. Those things are legitimate to be considered when you're giving them a grade about their subcontracting program, as well as their overall performance in other areas. All of that goes into that whole look at them and evaluation of them. I'm just really suggesting that.
I think I'm getting the hook right now. Any other questions? We can chat probably after.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys go and thank Jim for this.